Welcome back to Divinity Said. As you may or may not know, Ashley Benefield, the Black Swan, is going to be using battered spouse syndrome, battered woman syndrome is what it used to be called, as her defense. She moved from stand your ground, which she was denied, to a battered spouse defense, which is essentially the difference is you live with your abuser, technically. So with stand your ground, there's castle doctrine. With this, it was harder to apply castle doctrine, so it came when you live with somebody and there's been pattern of abuse. It's usually typically applied to somebody, for instance, the woman who set her husband's bed on fire after years and years of abuse because she just could see no other way out. So the difference, though, between battered spouse syndrome and most other defenses is that in order to use battered spouse syndrome, the burden of proof shifts to the defendant. So the burden of proof is now Ashley's to prove to the jury that she actually suffered from this. So I thought it was interesting then when I heard yesterday on the 16th, July 16th, which is like one of the last hearings before we get to trial on the 22nd, Ashley's attorney making sure that the judge lets the jury know who has the burden of proof. And I don't know if this is just me splitting the wrong type of hairs here, probably is, but it feels like he knows he's about to use a defense where the burden of proof has shifted, but he wants to kind of muddy the waters. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong.
This isn't really a murder case. I mean, we're not going to dispute that he was shot and killed. The issue is, was the force used justifiable?
Correct.
All right. This case, Judge White, the presumption of innocence is basically a requirement that they say, I am prepared to start this trial believing that the shooting was justified. Now, state, prove to me beyond a reasonable doubt that it was not. Because that's what the trial is about. Ultimately, it's self-defense and was the shooting justified, and that's the instruction the court's going to give. So I would like to be able, within reason, to explain that to them and to present that to them as part of the presumption of innocence and the burden being on the state.